Injury in our sport, it's really part of the game. Almost every skier has come through an injury. It's a really competitive sport. If you don't deliver, you're left out. If you don't make it to the next level, you're cut off. It wasn't love at first sight for me skiing. At the beginning, my mom used to buy me a Nutella crepe to go skiing. Before I got fat, I found my own motivation to go skiing and to enjoy being outside in the snow and also racing. Skiing gave me like a goal to pursue. In that way, probably I would say that maybe it saved me.
Bosca looking to get himself up onto a podium.
Scoring my first podium, crossing the finish line in Garmin shoes, something unbelievable. It set me free. I think it gave a deeper meaning to all the sacrifices that I've made to that point. To unlock all the full potential, it's important that...
Hey, my name is Robin and welcome to episode 7 of the Emulation podcast. Today, alongside William, we had the pleasure of discussing with Guglielmo Bosca, an Italian pro skier. We went through his journey to the highest level, the pivotal moments of his career, dealing with major injuries, how to overcome fear, and how to know if it was worth it. So please welcome Guglielmo Bosca.
Hi Robin, hi William. Yeah, it's kind of a pleasure to me to be here with you talking about skiing and wrote to you my story, my journey to get to that goal. I think I'm quite a peculiar skier because I came from a different background than probably most of other skiers that I grew up with. Because I came from the countryside and then I moved to the city, to Milan, where I did all my studies since I was like 7 years old, something like that. And then there was always in my life the mountains, because every weekend my mom used to bring me to skiing by the mountain, and I used to go in Courmayeur in Aosta Valley to go skiing. So for me, skiing was kind of a weekend activity, and I used to practice because my family was happy to go skiing, and I was young and not leave me alone at home, so I need to go with them. Because actually at the beginning, it wasn't really love at first sight for me skiing, because to be honest, I didn't like so much the cold temperature and being outside. I prefer to stay at home. So at the beginning, my mom used to buy me a Nutella crepe to go skiing, to go skiing. And yeah, the cool thing is that before that I got maybe fat. The cool part is that I was a skinny little guy, and the cool part is that before I got fat, I found my own motivation to go skiing and to enjoy being outside in the snow and also racing. That's what made me enjoy it, because my motivation became the stopwatch, basically. So my motivation began with ski racing, actually.
And so you were like a casual skier, like from 2 years old to 7, or you went like really often, like every weekend or stuff like that?
I was kind of a casual skier because I started when I was 5 years old in Courmayeur, actually, and yeah, they used to go every weekend skiing because they like to go skiing. So skiing was we used to go there during weekends, and we used to go every weekend. But it wasn't like a dream to be like a professional athlete, because I didn't grow up in a family where sports was something really pursue. So it was more like not time to enjoy to do something during the weekend. So I actually didn't know what that meant to be like a professional skier. At the time, there wasn't social media, and I was really young when I started, so I didn't have a phone. But actually, I didn't know what was to do that life of a workout ski racer. But I started to enjoy it. I started to go around with. I made the friend that made me curious about staying outside and enjoying and playing in the snow. And we used to go around to go around in between the areas, the ski areas of Aosta Valley, because I was enrolled by my parents in a ski club, because this is what happened at the beginning usually. And I think it's kind of the same in every country, I think, because you start from a ski club. You basically enroll in a ski club and you start skiing, and there's a lot of other children out there skiing. And what probably is different from other sport is that you have this kind of it's a really competitiveness sport. This is what I felt from the beginning, because I remember that we were 100 children, little ski racer, that we were competing against each other, and basically the one that were more happy was the one ending up on the podium, so the first three of the race. So yeah, you face also from the beginning you're faced to this kind of environment where you're just a number, and you try to succeed to be in front of them.
And did you like that, the competition with the other kids at that time, or like until what point the motivation shifted from the Nutella crepe to you actually wanting to ski and go there?
Yeah, I think it started quite early, because this children category started around 8 years old, and goes ahead till 15 years old. And that stages that you have are important, but what makes me do all the sacrifices is that I was kind of good since the beginning. That's for helping me a lot, and being one of the best one give me the power and the joy to go ahead. For sure, other than that, also just enjoying like going powder skiing with my friends, with the coach, and that part was probably something that I really liked, maybe even more than racing. But we used to live both sides, so it wasn't just racing; it was also about playing, and yeah, that's the point. Yeah.
And like, what was I gonna say? I was gonna say, in terms of your background growing up in the countryside, not in the mountains, did you feel that you were a bit different? Because usually, and that's what I saw, because also I have also part of my family that's from the mountains, and they have lived that life of racing from basically 6 years old to trying to go pro. but usually, like, it's a sport that on most people going into that sport are from the mountains. It's and there's not of in France. I would say there's not a lot of Parisian and people from the north of France that finally end up going pro. It's a bit, yeah, it's more the people that were born in the mountains and that their parents were skiers, and it's like a generational thing. So did you feel that you were a bit different because you are not from those kinds of families?
Uh, yeah, it was something a bit different because um, the it was different because there was most of the guy were from the mountain, but basically in between my age, I think that more and more people from the city started to go by the mountain and used to do ski club, and it was kind of a thing, I think, because there was many other doing that. For sure, the majority of them wasn't pursuing this chapter in order to go to race World Cup and to turn pro or doing this as a job. But they used to do it as an activity, as you play tennis or you play soccer during the week when as opposed to that when you go on the weekends by the mountain, you used to go skiing. But yeah, there was the majority of them that was doing it not professionally, but more racing with a racing method. Was more like people who came from the mountain. Yeah, for sure.
And in the end, yeah, in Milan, you're not too far away from the mountain. So it's,
Yeah.
yeah, it's,
Yeah.
How far
It's
away is it? I was thinking.
I think
it's around 2 hours from Milan.
Okay. So it was like the usual weekend for the Bosca family was leave late on Friday, then sleep Friday at the mountain, and then Saturday, Sunday you ski, and then Sunday evening all the kids sleep in the car and dad drives the car or just your parent or
Exactly.
that was the setup. Okay.
It was the setup. Yeah. Yeah.
Did you bring other friends from Milan or it was just your family always going to ski? Like,
Yeah, yeah. So sometimes there was also some friends. Usually, it was always my mom because my parents parted ways when I was young, and so I used to go with my mom. And sometimes there was also some friend of us that was coming with us, and yeah, it was exactly as you said. We used to end up school maybe sometimes we used to ended up school even earlier, maybe 1 hour earlier on Friday, in order to try to make it to Courmayeur early and try to do some skiing also on Friday.
Mhm.
And then take whatever I can take in those 2 days, and then on Sunday going back to Milan and starting again school. And that was the whole process till I was probably 16, something like that. So it was quite a long journey that anyone in the junior team where I was selected when I was probably 17, no, 18, when I made it the junior team. No one of that junior team was as a story like mine. Everyone was someone or coming from the mountain or maybe someone who quit school and started to pursue the goal of being a ski racer. So when I get to that point, I think that helped me in some ways because I felt that I still have more potential in me
Mm.
because yeah, I was watching to them as really really strong guys with super high skills in skiing, and I was trying to get everything from them. But I felt that I was not the strong. To be honest, probably I was one of the worst maybe, and we were around 15. But I think that at the moment, yeah, there's just one guy of that team that is still skiing, but all the other one quit skiing because basically, as I said before, skiing it's a really competitive sport as all the other professional sport. And I think that in this way it's kind of similar. And basically, if you don't deliver, you are left out. If you don't make it to the next level, you are cut off. That's what happened. That's what used to happen to all the other athletes. So yeah, that was I think the journey till I get to the national junior team, and at 18 was the same age where I ended up the high school, and at that time was also the same time where I switched from kind of this part-time skiing to a full-time skier. Also because then I enrolled into university. I started a degree in engineering, but it wasn't necessary that I was attending all the classes in Milan, but I can just went for exams, and I had more time to focus on skiing. So it was kind of a different path because usually it's like that. You start from the ski club, and it's more like something like a game, like every sport, and that part till I around 15 years old, it's important to me because I think that if you are not among the best, probably you are losing the motivation, in my opinion. Because if you don't see that you have some possibility to get there, probably it will not be easy to regain that motivation. So yeah, it's more a game, but it's important to already be okay. I will not say really good, but okay. And it was my case.
Do you mean like because you were still doing other things that kids your age in vast majority were doing, like going to school, it didn't give you that much pressure to be the best already at that time because you had like plan A and plan B a bit on the same position, and compared to someone that would be all in already on skiing, you would feel less pressure not being the best yet compared to those guys that were already kind of obsessed by making it to pro.
This is something that for sure played a role, but it wasn't just like that. Basically, I wasn't also good enough. I was okay in skiing. I was a good skier, but I wasn't the strongest of everyone. And also, as I mentioned before, without coming from this idea of professional sport from my family, I actually didn't know what that means. So basically, I tried to go ahead in every aspect. So I tried to go ahead with school in a normal school in Milan, and I tried to go ahead with skiing during weekends, and try to be the best version of myself. In that way, it helped me because I had kind of a different life because skiing gave me like a goal to pursue, and it made me focus to keep improving in order to get to that goal. So this thing, I think it's really useful in the life of a young student or a young guy growing up in Milan. So I think having this other stuff in my life, I think it helped me a lot. I think that in that way, skiing probably I would say that maybe it saved me. Yeah.
And if you were only, sorry, William, if you were only skiing on the weekends, did that mean that you were training less than the other guys that were living in the mountains?
Yeah, yeah. That was my case because yeah, also around 10, 12 years old, children from living by the mountain was usually starting to train also during week, and
Mm.
after school, maybe after they finish school, they started to go train during the week. And it wasn't my case till I was around 17, something like that, because yeah, when I grow up, the I started to take maybe some days off school, even though I was attending like a normal school in Milan. So it wasn't really easy to go out and say to the professor that you were going skiing, because they were already judging you when you came back from a ski week with maybe goggles tamed in your face, and that probably wasn't something so really accepted from them, because probably in Italy we don't have this sportive culture that is so valued in between the young generation, and so yeah, that was my path to get there.
The one thing I was curious about is so you were basically skiing from the age of like 6 to 18, and then you started to pursue it full time. But the thing is, you can't, even if you would like to have pursued full time skiing at that time, you just can't do it because there is no snow. I mean, during the summer and the rest of the year. So this is the one very specific thing of skiing, right? Is that you can only practice the sport in a certain period of the year. So what were you doing in those youth years? Like, what were you doing outside of skiing? Because there were so many months of the year where it was just not an option. Did you just go to the mountains even if there was no snow, or?
uh yeah, that's a good question. I start from what I do now, because so you can then understand better what also children are doing at the moment right now, because basically our season started, and also children's season started with the snow, and the snow usually start from November to till April. That usually the range of the ski season and ski racing season. Uh, Now, as a professional and I'm doing it as a job, in April, we used to take them a really important month where we try all the new materials, all the new stuff, all um, the little adjustment that are made on skis, and we maybe have 10 different skis that are, if you see them, they seem perfectly the same, but there has some little difference in between the construction or other stuff. And in April, we usually do that. We try everything, and we choose what could be the best thing for the next season. After that time in April, we usually have like a break that usually lasts around 3 weeks. And then in May we start again with the conditional training. So we start basically with doing a lot of work in the gym and a lot of work outside, like running or cycling. Um, the different part of skiing is that you need to be prepared 100% on your body. You need to be really strong with a really high strongness, but also really big resistance and a really good metabolic system to overcome all the hard section of a course. And And so this part of conditional training lasts usually around three months, and in that period of time, in June, July, and August, you start also to train on glaciers. We usually go on glaciers to find snow, and there you start again to do something on snow, to start to practice some more. And then in September, usually, or at the end of August, we travel on the other hemisphere to train on really winter condition, because when we change hemisphere, you find winter on the other side, when here we have summer. And basically there you go ahead with the real preparation of speed, or in general of your season. And when you come back, it's almost time to begin again, and season will start. So this is roughly what's happened for our preparation to the season. Lately, the younger generation, even the children, starts to do kind of the same program, similar to our program. They already do, like, maybe they do even more days of skiing than me. Now I'm doing this as a full job, as a full-time job. And there's a lot of family and a lot of little children that are doing these things already since the beginning. And I think that the system forced them to do that now, because the competitiveness also from younger age, it become way higher than it was when I started. And so to let the little skier to be in the position that I told you before, so to end up around the first three spots of a race, or into the podium, they need to do that in order to keep being motivated, and to keep improving, and not giving up during the process. And so now I think you need to do more. I don't think it's necessary to do that much, because it's, I think, the most important part for a skier, or for every sportsman, it's to enjoy what you're doing. And so in that way, if this kind of life start to become like something that you need to do, it will not be easy to go ahead in doing it. So I don't know if I answered properly.
Yeah. And I have another follow-up question, is that, do you think the Guglielmo Bosca of back in the days, if you were skiing in today's conditions, you would stand a chance against those kids that have the chance to go to the glaciers and then ski on the other side of the planet, or there would be no way?
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I also did that part when there wasn't school, like during summer. I used to go in the glacier skiing.
Okay.
I did the same. In some ways, I did the same path. Obviously, I didn't lose so many days of skiing, so many days of school to go skiing when I was younger. But for example, when my other classroom colleague were going to how do you call it, when the school goes, when you have the tour, like some days with your school on vacation, and
yeah, it's like a school trip, like a
like a school trip.
Yeah.
But when there used to be school trips, I used to skip that and go skiing. So I did some sacrifices even when I was younger. So I already did something, but it wasn't always something that I was unhappy to pursue. It was something that I enjoy doing. It's something that just was my drive. It was
Yeah.
trying to become the best skier I could possibly be.
I guess
Yeah.
maybe what we can say, and I think it's something discussing with people in other sports, in cycling, for example, it seems like sport is getting serious earlier than before. Like if at 13, 14, you're already living nearly a professional life in terms of preparation for the sport. So that's
Yeah.
something that's changed. Uh, it's hard to know if it's good or bad. I'd say, like you said, if this makes people feel unhappy about pursuing that kind of dream, then it would be sad. But I guess it's different for everyone. But it's also the true, like, the difficult thing about these kind of sports such as ski, and it's a bit, I guess ski would be more like tennis than it is like cycling, in the way that you only have so few spots that can live from skiing. Like in tennis, I would say it's top 200 to live and be like live a pretty good life. And I'd say skiing is even lower. The number of athletes that can be professional and live from skiing. Uh, do- What do you think it would be, like around 100 people, 100 skiers, maybe 50?
Yeah, probably around 100 skiers, or yeah, 50. It depends on what I do currently, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that the top 100 of the prize money ranking that it's available on Fiski,
Mm.
uh, in some ways that they can live of skiing, because other than that, they have probably they own personal sponsors and stuff, and they can go on in doing skiing, but it's something that cannot last forever. So uh, uh, you need to be or one of the best in the world to live all your life of skiing, or yeah, at some point of your life need to change something
Mm.
and find another way.
And just maybe closing on this chapter of your life, when you look back at it now, with more perspective, was it a happy, happy part of your journey? Did you like that those years going skiing in the weekends and going to school, and then also finally getting to doing this every day by joining the junior team?
Yeah, I have a lot of super nice memories about that time. So I think it was a really cool path, because also during this path I discovered that I would like to become a professional skier, and I would like to pursue it in this journey. But it was kind of a roller coaster path from the beginning till now. So uh, and yeah, but it was for sure a really happy moment, and because you the cool thing is that you always need to deliver and to make it to the next step, because when you start, as I mentioned before, in a normal ski club, you start with a lot of other guy, and when you arrive around 16, this is when things start to get more serious, because from that age you start to race in FIS races, where basically, since from that moment you can already start to race World Cups if you're really really good. And when you start from in FIS races, when you compete in FIS races, you gain a FIS point, and with this point, you can compare yourself to all the other one in the world. You start to be enrolled in a world ranking. So basically, when you are 16, you know in which position you are in the world ranking. And this, I think, was something that was really interesting for me, because I remember when I started that I was around 1075th position in the world in giant slalom. But I remember that I was in the top 10 of my age, of the ski racer of my age, and I was probably the number one in Italy. So that was something that was interesting to have this goal of getting always better and better. And I think this environment, it's really attractive, because you would like to see where you can arrive, improve with the work and trying to improve day by day. So yeah, this is what kept me improving and kept me arriving till the junior national team.
So you said there was no one in your family that had pursued a professional career in any sports. So the question I'm getting to is how easy or how hard was it to make that choice when you were 18 to go full time on skiing? Because you mentioned that, right? I'm not sure. Did you go full time at 18, or did you kind of go to university but took the classes there and then skied on the side, or was it like 40 hours of skiing a day and then conditioning and eating well?
No, when I got to 18, I gained my spot in the national junior team, and in the same time, I was enrolled in the army. So basically, skiing become my job, because I started to earn money with skiing. It wasn't like a super big amount of money, but for that time, at that age, was something big. So yeah, it became a job, and for that time, it was something. And so from that part, yeah, I started to pursue that career with all my energy and all my forces. And in my family, no one was there wasn't sportsman in my family, but I have an older brother that was pursuing the same career of mine. So in some ways, I was following his path also. So he played for sure a role in that way. But yeah, my parents wasn't believing it. There wasn't the culture of sport. So I had to discover it by myself. So it was kind of a different way of learning how professional sport was.
In terms of discovering by yourself, do you think that, and that's a question I also ask myself when asking it to you, do you think that if your parents know what it is to compete and have been like professional in a sport, it helps you have the mentality of the winner mentality and those kind of things? Like, did you feel like this was some aspect that you were lacking, or was it already something that you felt inside of you, and no matter if your parents were good at skiing or other sports, it didn't matter?
That's a good question. uh, Sometimes I asked myself that question, because I think that a lot, probably almost everyone of my colleague in the national team had, I don't know, maybe not just a parent, but someone really close that showed them this path, that rooted them into the sport. And I think me, with my brother. We just discover it by ourselves. That I think this is something different.
Yeah, because usually I think like what your parents do automatically as a kid, you think that's something you could do as well. Like it seems more attainable to imagine your life doing your parents' job than any other job. So I the other day was thinking about this and I felt okay, that maybe that's kind of normal that like sports and athletes children they want to they want to pursue and they are usually not that bad at the sports. So, because maybe for them it's natural they have seen their parents like or their dad or their mom competing every day, so that's kind of a normal thing. And for me that was not normal. My dad was not too bad at football, but he didn't have the level. So maybe for me, it seemed like a bigger mountain to climb than for people that have like champions in their in their environment. But yeah, you're an
Yeah,
example that it's not
I
only
think that
that.
what you said it's true, because if you have an example, it's for sure easier to follow that example. But yeah, it's not totally fundamental to have it. Maybe you can find your own way somewhere where you where you
Mm.
like to get.
Maybe because you were winning so much as a kid and you've built that.
Yeah, that I think for sure that helped me for sure, because if it wasn't for that, probably I was forced to give up.
Mm.
Uh, Also because my parents, especially my dad, wasn't really happy for me to skiing. He was always telling me that I need to quit, and that it was probably something worth pursuing. But yeah, it has always been my dream to become a ski racer, and that become reality in between that ages, when I was around 16 years old, in between 18 years old. I was developing inside of me this dream of being a World Cup racer, and start to. I was dreaming also of racing in Kitzbühel. I was dreaming to be that World Cup racer.
That's a perfect transition that you were dreaming of skiing into Kitzbühel, because according to our research, that's where you made your official World Cup debut on January 2nd, 2016. Is it
Yeah.
true? And how was it?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, it was a pivotal moment for me, because it was at the same time it was a really huge dream, something really huge, but at the same time it was kind of a nightmare also, because Kitzbühel it's something really epic, and it's one of the most dangerous races of the entire circuit. It's the biggest race of all the races that we have during the season. You have 90,000 of spectators cheering loudly all aside of the racetrack. And I was reading the other day while talking with a with a sponsor that more than 300 millions of fans are watching Kitzbühel from all around the world. And yeah, I think it's something that stand out from every other races. And I learned it more now that I've done many races in the World Cup, that Kitzbühel is something different. And beginning from there was something really unique, because actually at the moment I wasn't part of the team. Also, I was still with the army, because we skipped a bit before, because after my first two junior year in the national team, I was kicked out Probably, as I told you before, I wasn't really good enough. Maybe the other one was better than me, and for that reason, probably I was kicked out from the national team. But then I managed to get back to that point, and I start, especially before I was doing more giant slalom disciplines, so more technical discipline, and after that time I started to participate. It was more of a casual encounter with speed, because I it was there was the national championship the year before. It was around in 2015, the year before my debut in Kitzbühel, and I participate to the national championships, and I ended up the race in between Peterfield and Mattia Casse, and Peterfield was. Mm, I think that in that year won the Globe as the best downhill skier of that year. So that race gave me like the motivation and the confidence to believe in my potential. And even though that result wasn't enough to make me go back to the national team, it truly made me believe in myself. And that was exactly the case, because at the beginning of the next season, I scored my first European podium, and then I got my ticket for Kitzbühel for my first World Cup race. And yeah, it was kind of a dream come true, because when I arrived to Kitzbühel, I remember that I was in the same room of all my idols of skiing, because there was Christoph Innerhofer, Peterfield, Dominic Paris, Bernerel. They were all together there for racing the most important race the year. And I remember Dominic Paris coming to me and telling me, I was just a little guy, so we didn't properly know each other since then, probably. And he came to me and told me, don't unpack your luggage, because if you got injured, we don't have to do it for you. So it was kind of a joke, but said from him, that was one of the guy who won so many times Kitzbühel. It scared me some ways, but then yeah, he helped me the day after during the inspection. He gave me some insight on the track, and gave me some suggestion on which line to take. But yeah, at the beginning he made this joke to me.
I think it's the ski. It's a bit of the ski way. It's a bit like rude, but it's made for the good. I mean, it's positive behind the
Yeah.
the directness. It's always fun, and that's the part of the podcast where you mention names that I know, and I know that William he doesn't know. So I'm quite happy to be the expert on that side. And
The countless hours you spent on the TV watching are now paying back. So,
and like, just to, because I know we skipped, and before jumping in Kitzbühel, I just wanted to come back, because as you mentioned, we skipped a major part of your career, because you were like dumped by the team at some point at 18, around 18, as you said, and then you managed to come back.
20, yeah. Around
Yeah.
in 20, yeah.
Yeah, 18, 20, which is pretty like old in terms of like, if at 20 then you're getting dumped, it's a bit stressful, because you need to or bounce back, or then you're 20 and you're like, okay, what am I gonna do? But just what I wanted to mention is that ski is a bit weird in my experience of what I know of becoming a pro skier, in the fact that you start usually with the technical disciplines that are giant slalom and slalom, and then it's a bit later that if you show good signs in those disciplines, you can move to downhill and super G. Because especially maybe in France, which is the context that I know better, there's not a lot of downhill races or super G races, so it's a bit later that that you move to these disciplines. So for you, it was the key to your career in a way, moving from technical disciplines to more speed disciplines, and or were you already doing them when you got kicked out?
Uh, I think that it came naturally for me, the transition, because basically you start doing everything as a skiers, because it's really important to develop different kind of skills that you can gain doing slalom and also doing speed. So basically you need to do everything to reach probably the World Cup, even if you are doing like slalom or giant slalom or super G or downhill, that are the discipline of alpine skiing. So I was doing I was still doing all the disciplines while I was in the junior team, and but I was more focused in giant slalom. Probably I think that giant slalom is the base of every discipline, because it's technical, but also really you need to have a lot of different other skills. Also reading the course, also having the speed inside of you. So that part, it was fundamental for me, for my technique, also in speed. And then I move a bit more speed, because I was doing better in speed. That's just what worked for me, because usually you do like that. Probably you start doing everything and you follow what you do best. And I think it's seen also in life. You start doing a lot of things, to study a lot of things, and then you ended up doing the things that probably you do better, because the things that you do better probably is the things that you enjoy more to do it.
But
So
downhill, you don't have like downhill races before 18 or 16, no?
you don't have downhill races before 16.
Okay.
So you start doing downhill if you would like to participate at 17. And
Yeah.
I started straight away to do speed since I turned to the FIS circuit, and I was already good in speed, but I was better in giant slalom at the beginning. So that was the reason why I was pursuing more giant slalom at the time. And giant slalom was the reason with which I entered in the international junior team. So I was seeing myself as a career of giant slalom skier, and I would like to pursue that goal. But then during the years, I have been kicked out from the national junior team, and then I started off again with the army. That gave me the possibility to train. It was a kind of a different way of training then, because when you are in a national team, you have everything with you. You have servicemen, you have a lot of coaches, and you are followed to do your activity. And when you are outside, you have to do everything by your own. You have to do your skis by your own. You have to sometimes you even have to train by your own. You need to find someone who train with, and you can imagine that training speed in that situation wasn't really easy. And actually I didn't train speed maybe at all. I was trying more to do everything, because in order to get back to the national team, there was a senior circuit, because at the moment I was not anymore in the junior category, so I needed to do this senior circuit to regain the national team and then go ahead in my dream to become a World Cup skier. But I didn't manage to win the series, but I ended up second, and just the winner was taking me into the national team, and so I started to race. I did just one race of speed. That was for instance, the national championship that I was talking before, and that race worked out outstandingly good because I also did the FIS point that projected me into the top 100 in the world in the Super G discipline. And after that race, also mentally, I think I turned it. It was a really pivotal moment for me, because I was really believing that probably I could have a future in speed discipline in World Cup.
Okay, so national championships, key moment, like as you said, pivotal from that led you to this debut in Kitzbühel. That we opened the bracket, like we opened this topic a few minutes ago, and now we're coming back to Kitzbühel and to this first race. And did you do well on that first race?
It was really an emotional race, as you can imagine, and yeah, it was a good race. It was just outside of the top 30, I remember, and I remember that it was a Super G race, with a Super G World Cup race, combined with a slalom. So there was 2 races in a day. So basically, I started my World Cup career doing 2 races in one day, and the first race was the Super G, and I was I think around 40, 45, something around that, and not really far away from the top 30. And then there was the slalom that was by night in the race slope of the actual slalom race that you have every Sunday of the Kitzbühel weekend. And I remember that I was starting just after the first one of the Super G, and that guy starting even before of me was Axel Lundsvindan. And I remember that I was following him, and I was watching him from the top of the slalom course. And I remember that he did 4 or 5 gates and then struggled and did a super mega crash in front of me. And it wasn't easy then to start also in that slalom, because also that slalom it's not something really easy, especially because I wasn't practicing so much slalom at the time. I was more into giant slalom, as I mentioned before, and some speed races. And so doing slalom was kind of new for me, maybe also for Svindal at the time. It wasn't anymore doing so much slalom at the time. And that slalom was really tough. It was like it's like seeing into a mirror, because there was a super icy, and there was this light because it was at night, the race, and you can see the reflection of the light on the snow. It was super mega icy, and I struggled too just after Svindal, and so I didn't finish the race. But I think that after that race, I got the credibility, and also the team started to believe in me, and so they invited me to race more races of the World Cup, of the World Cup circuit. And so basically after that day I become a World Cup skier, kind of a World Cup skier.
I think this is the point that is the most interesting to me is to understand how a skier feels and how you feel at the start of a race. Because in my personal experience, I played a bit of golf and I had this feeling that, on the first tee, even if you're only like a group of 4 people, so it will be
Mhm.
you playing the first tee and then the other 3 watching you, you have this weird stress that because it's the first shot and everyone's watching and no one is going to play until you play. And its key is the same. It's like, usually it's not like every 15 seconds one guy goes. It's like one guy goes, he crosses the finish line, and then another guy can go. So during that time, there are like, I don't know, like thousands of people watching on the sides and on TV. So like how stressful does it feel to be on the start line? And I mean, what is happening inside your brain? That's the part I want to know.
Yeah, it's a really emotional moment when you're at the Stargate, uh, because there's so much going on in your mind, uh, because you don't want to, especially if you're doing speed. You have really a lot of things going on in your mind because you don't want to destroy yourself somewhere. You don't want to be slow or to do or not to perform as you can perform. And
Uh-huh.
so you have a lot of things going on, and it's not easy to handle, especially in that circumstances as for example in Kitzbühel. um, and that part is probably the hardest part to overcome in order to start delivering in World Cup in the World Cup circuit. And I remember that in Kitzbühel at the first time in the first race that weekend where I did my first race,
Mm-hmm.
that I was with another guy of the team, a really good friend of mine, and we said together that we should watch just one racer from the top, because they say that at the beginning when you start, when the first time you do the strive, the first time you race Kitzbühel, they said to not watch anyone from the top, because watching a racer starting from the top of the racetrack, it's so impactful, it's so hard to watch, that then you don't want to start from the starting gate. But we were there, and there's this super huge and really good hospitality in Kitzbühel with this balcony where you can see perfectly the first 2 gates and the first jump. That is around 50 meters in the air jump, so it's a really big jump. And we went out to watch just one racer, and I remember that we watched the second race, then the jump, and we saw these skiers like moving his arms, and we thought that he was crashing for sure. So we run inside and watching on TV if he was alive, and then we discovered that in some ways he was still alive, and
Okay.
that was something good for us for that start that downhill. So yeah, it's really something big to experience when you're in a starting gate before going down that kind of slope. And yeah, you can compare that to other sport. As you mentioned before, I used to play golf sometimes, and yeah, I remember in races when you start from the tee area to
Mm.
maybe for your drive,
Yeah.
and yeah, you have a similar kind of pressure, but the difference is that you also in some ways plays with your health. You play with uh, with your life. That's
Mm.
something that is kind of different.
That's a big difference indeed.
Yeah.
Like a golf is more like the public shame of doing a bad shot and everyone watching. But in ski, you also have that shame part. If you're slow, then maybe in your mind you'll think that you're kind of like shameful to be that slow, or but then you've got the harm, as you said, and that's yeah, that's like a very specific feature of downhill skiing because you guys go so fast. It's I mean, I never went that fast on skis. I think even if I go like 50k per hour on skis, I'm already like at the end of my life. So I cannot like really apprehend how it would feel.
But maybe like a good, because we've discussed how you feel before the race when you're standing still, basically. But what do you like? Is there a place to think, to strategize, and to like basically what's happened inside your head when that's it, you've taken your courage, you starting to go down the hill, and now you need to race, you need to find the good angles, and so how is it inside your head during the race?
I think everything you do it before the race. Before the race, you start to visualizing everything that you will do during your downhill, and we as skiers we remember every inch of the race slope. We know if there is a bump in that area, if there is a more high sea spot of snow in that area. So we try to see everything during the inspection. So during the inspection, we check every spot of every inch of the race slope, and then we try to imagine ourselves doing it at full speed. So we try to visualize us while we are doing the downhill track. And then when you start, you just try to go into the flow. You just try to go, and because you don't have any time to think when you are moving at 150 kilometers per hour on icy surface, where you probably have a big turn, then 50 meters in the air jump. You don't really have no time to think while you're going down. So it's really important that you have done everything before, that you have visualized everything that you're going to do during your race, even also the possible mistakes that you're going to do. You maybe have to prepare them. You have to be prepared in every situation. That's something I think unique in about skiing, and especially in speed disciplines.
Do you have to do a certain amount of mental work to, in a way, accommodate with the fear of like crashing? Or because it's really the discipline in skiing that's the most like dangerous, I would say, and there's really a part of fear, as you said. Like it's crazy that there's a race in your sports where people say you should not watch the first, you should not watch any racer from from the top, otherwise you don't want to go. So did you have to manage that? Like, are they guys that feel it's really natural for them, and people who need to work on that? How was your journey with that fear factor in your sport?
Yeah, I think that everyone inside of us has a place for fear, and I think that everyone have to accept that kind of fear, especially if you're a downhill skier. I would say that there are mainly two types of fear: the fear of what we don't know, that basically it's something similar to the fear of the dark that everyone has when he's a kid, and then there are other kind of fear that are more post-traumatic fear, and it's really important to try to overcome these two type of fear, because the first one is a fear that everyone has probably when faced for the first time Kitzbühel, because you heard a lot about the race, you heard about the crashes. There's also a really famous film called Strife that shows the story of this venue, and where you can see all the major crashes that happened in Kitzbühel. So the first time you come there, you can feel that kind of pressure, that kind of stress, because you see this slope, you see that you don't know how you're gonna handle that kind of difficultness. So basically, that part I think comes with trainings, with a lot of other downhill, a lot of expertise that you made during many years. Because when you came to Kitzbühel for the first time, probably you haven't done nothing quite similar in your previous career of ski racing. For sure, if you have done other World Cup races, it will be for sure easier. But Kitzbühel in some ways stays on another level. It's similar to Bormio in Italy. Bormio, it's another really challenging slope. And for sure, if you follow that path, doing all the World Cup races, you're right then at Kitzbühel, knowing a bit more what you will need to do to overcome all the difficultness and all the hard section of the slope. And then the other part of the fear, it's more like a post-traumatic fear that probably came after I don't know, an injury. It's really common after an injury, but it doesn't mean to be like an injury that you sustained before, but can be also an injury, maybe one of your best friend or I don't know, your brother, that then makes you think a bit more, makes you see more the possible danger that you can have in a downhill like that one. So it's a really big effort to overcome all this type of fear, and for me it wasn't easy at all to get that part away from me. And I think that what helped me the most, it's probably having a good plan was something really good for me, to have a schedule to follow. Like as I mentioned before, like visualizing everything that you will do during a race, it for sure help you a lot. And then you need for sure time to process and practice that kind of things. So doing a lot of jumps, a lot of really high speed turns, doing difficult downhill in really hard surfaces, it's what gave you the confidence that probably you need to overcome that part. But I think that more than everything, what helped me the most was having a goal that is worth pursuing, that it's worth to take all these kind of risks. That's probably the fact that helped me the most. Yeah.
And what is that goal that you had, that you were willing to take all these risks for?
Yeah, to me it happened last year, that final part, because I had to know more about fear, because I faced some injury in my career, so I have a really quite of a roller coaster path on my journey to become a professional skier. And I get into that part with my psychology that helped me out to overcome that fear. And yeah, that goal to me was to happened last year, actually, when I probably touched the worst point in my career of fear, because last year I remember in December that actually last year was my best season ever in the World Cup. But not many people know that at the beginning of the season, I faced probably the biggest fear of my whole career, because I reached probably the highest point of fear in all my racing career. And in order to overcome it, I did exactly what I said before. So I found a good plan. I rethink of all the works I've done to be in that position, to rethink on every run of downhill, every jump, every downhill training I've done in my whole life. And in the end, I put what was my goal, that it was worth pursuing, and that was scoring a podium. And that was exactly what I did last year, because I had that feeling inside of me that I can reach that goal, that I had the potential to be in front of a race, and I was feeling it since a long time, because I used to do really fast section in skiing. You have many sectors in a downhill race, and every section has the winner of that section. But it's not so important to be a winner of a section. The important part is to be in front at the end. The only things that matter is to be in front, in the winner at the end of the downhill, not in some sectors of the downhill. But I remember that I was doing super fast section, like maybe winning some sections and then messing up my race in some others. And having that goal clear in my mind, I think that helped me the most, because in the next race after that race where I reached the most highest point of my fear,
And when you say, like, just to cut you, like when you say you've reached the highest point in your fear, it's not like something happened that made you be really afraid. It's that preparing for that race, you were like the most afraid you've been of going of like starting the race you've ever been. Like, was it
Or something scary happened in the race?
Yeah.
Nothing special happened at the time to me, but I remember that there have been some other crash that was coming back into my mind, and I remember that the fear that I had at the time wasn't just of cracking a bone really bad or messing up a knee or breaking an arm. I was feeling I was scared of doing way worse than that. I had some more higher fear than fracture your leg or something else.
Because people have died, like even recently, like doing downhill.
Yeah. Also, I faced some of them while we were training many years ago. I remember we were training in Canada, and one of the top guy passed away during a training over there, and we were training in the same spot, just the next slot after them. And I remember that a guy died in that position, and it was a really good guy of the World Cup, David Wasson, a French guy, and it happens sometimes. You have to deal also with that kind of things. and
And those things, they came back to you like all at once at that time, in last season.
I think that last season, after also other crashes that happened at the beginning of the season, after the first race in the US, I had that feeling inside my mind that something more can happen. So I told myself, if you would like to do something good in this sport, if you really want to take out something that stand out, you have the possibility to do it. Do it. If not,
Okay.
just leave it.
Okay, I understand.
So
Okay,
that was my
yeah.
feeling that went into my mind at that time, and yeah, and that was the way I overcome it, and the way I gained that confidence that made me do the next step to unblock all my potential.
It seems crazy to me that you've done your best result ever just after living that moment where you were, in a way, would the answer had been, okay, no, I'm not willing to take all those risks for that, you would have maybe stopped your career at that point? Or was it not at that much, like, because in a way, if what, like you said, if you were feeling that you were starting to get a bit blocked because you had that feeling that things could get worse, or you could get badly injured or even worse, if the answer to the question, why do I do that, wasn't, I really want to get on the podium and like do a result that stands out in my career, maybe you would have stopped your career in a way, you know?
Yeah, yeah. The point is that if I should my thing was, if I had to continue in this journey, it's better to be worth it, risking taking this kind of risk. And if uh, if I have the potential to reach all my goals, I need to do it, because even if you go 100% or 70%, there's some risk involved in any case. So if you want to make it worth doing it, you need to go and give everything you have. That was my thinking at the time. And it wasn't straight away. Yeah, actually, the race after this changing in my mind, I finished fifth in Wengen, in the Super G of Wengen, and it was just some hundreds of seconds away from the podium. And then there was the Kitzbühel week, where I did probably my two best downhill races of the season. And then there was Garmisch, where I managed to get on the podium.
So it seems like performances are heavily influenced by how good you feel mentally, because honestly, like your level probably in 2024 and 2023 wasn't that different in terms of like physical strength and how good you were technically. But do you think that just that mental shift made that huge difference in performance, or what is the factor as to why you performed so well last year?
Uh, the fact is that ski racing, in ski racing, the mental part play a really big role. Like probably I would say more than 50%, because of the many guys that, not many, but of the 30 best skiers in the world, all of them are are really really good in skiing. They know really good how to ski. They are really technical, well prepared, and they are also they have all the key to take probably a win maybe. But to unlock all the full potential, it's important that you have also the right mindset to reach that goal. So I think that mindset can play probably the biggest role in that part, because everyone is good, everyone can improve more, but you can do it only if you really believe in it, and you tell yourself that it's worth it for you to pursue that goal.
Do you think for guys like, for example, Marco Odermatt, that it's in that specific aspect that they are much stronger than the other ones? Like what do you feel is the the most important factor that they have um constantly that not other skiers have?
I think there are there are a mix of things, especially when we ended up talking about Marco Oderon, because um, it's really important to have a really baggage of good skills, and
Mhm.
I think
Yeah, of
uh,
course. Like even if I have the biggest mental ever, if I go on a downhill slope, then I'm
yeah,
even before it starts, it's the end.
yeah, but other than the baggage of skills that skiers can have, and also the physical part that every skier has, then the mental side can play a really big role. For sure, if you are a Marco Odermatt and you win all the races, you start to feel really good at doing it. You know that when you are at the start gate, you know that probably you have something more than the other. So maybe you need maybe a bit less of yourself in order to delivering the best result, and that part can help you a lot in perform in your best way, because
Mm.
um, as you can see watching a ski race, there's a lot of things going on during a downhill or a super G or a jet slalom or a slalom, because it's impossible to do like the perfect turn from top to the bottom, and in that way doing something the more perfect possible
Possible.
is what makes the real difference in the end,
Mm.
in terms of timing, because there's really a lot of things going on. So um, going back to Marco Odermatt, I think that he has something more than all the other guys. He has some skills that probably no one else has. Maybe no one ever has some such a good skills has him, and yeah, it helps you a lot to deliver your best performance on every weekend. But I think that also him has to face some difficult path sometimes. No, you keep seeing him winning
Mm.
and scoring podium, but I think it's not always as easy as it used to be. Maybe, I don't know, maybe last year, or
Okay.
you can
He
feel some.
wins less. There's more of third place, fourth place. So now he's not always winning like it was a bit 2 years ago, 1 year ago.
It's still maybe almost not human, but
Mm.
it is a little bit more human, I would say, because sometimes it's easy maybe lose some confidence maybe in the material. Maybe you have more I don't know if I have to say fear, but you're not in the same position as before, so you are not really in the same state of mind to deliver your best results. That's
Yeah.
probably what can happen.
And maybe also, like, I would say that knowing that you've won, that you have won in the past, and knowing that you can win a downhill race and that you've won several one, that gives you an advantage in the end because, for example, you you wanted to fulfill your potential, but it was still a potential before you did the podium. And maybe after the podium, something you had like this new feeling, like it was not only potential, it was also something you managed to do. So you go into other races with a bit maybe more knowledge of your capacities, than people that are still trying to get that objective, and maybe there's more fear when you don't know if you will fulfill your potential. So yeah, that might be also something.
Yeah, exactly. This is also
Mm.
what I experience on myself, because scoring my first podium, crossing the finish line in Garmisch was probably, I don't know, it was something unbelievable, because I was kind of know that I can reach that goal. I was kind of close from the race before, but crossing the finish line with the green light, it's something unique. It's a crazy amount of emotion came to me that day, and it came all at once while I crossed the finish line. And I think that emotion, that feeling, it's such a pure and unique feeling of freedom and fulfillment that you get. This, I think, it's the most incredible part of skiing.
Yeah, yeah, that's so cool. Like it's really hard, like to not many guys reach a podium in the end. Like there's a lot of guys that do a top 10, but a podium usually it's really like it's hard to get, like especially in downhill where there's lots of strong guys like for a lot of time. Who beats you on that day?
I ended up first with beep 70, but then
Eh.
the racer after me, Nils Allegre, a French guy, a
Oh,
friend of mine,
yeah.
just after me and stole the first place from me for
Okay.
some hundreds of a second. But yeah, it was kind of a roller coaster. But yeah,
It's
I was
always been.
also happy with him for him, because he deserves it. He deserves it to get that top spot. So also it was also maybe useful for me to not win in just the first time I was
Mm.
on my first podium, because it made me work even more to reach that goal.
Yeah.
Because also I think that kind of feeling, that kind of I would say on bracket success, is kind of a drag.
Mm.
It gave me a lot more confidence on myself, and it proved my potential that I was feeling already inside of me, and it gave me also this sense of freedom that I hadn't before. In some ways it set me free, because it gave me I think it gave a deeper meaning to all the sacrifices that I've made till that point. And that kind of feeling, I think it's definitely a feeling that I don't think you can get in many other ways of life. That's something really unique, and this is what kept me going, and that's what makes me do all the work in order to experience that feeling another time.
Okay. So another time, I was about to ask you, like, do you feel satisfied with that podium, or you feel like, I mean, you finished second, so now it feels kind of natural to go for the first place, but maybe there is an option where you could be totally satisfied with the second place, and you know the risk of the sports, and when taking all things into consideration, this is already a great career, and like did it cross your mind to just like be satisfied with that second place and just to do something else?
No, actually not.
Okay.
It was before that result. I was thinking, well, maybe if I got a podium, maybe then I will quit. Maybe it could be enough. But then after that race, I was even more motivated than before. Also, the all probably also the fear that was still inside of me
Uh-huh.
kind of disappear after that day. I remember
Really?
that also during the trains before after, um I was a kind of relief that I can push again without
Mm.
thinking much. Yeah, the day after, because there was two Super G races, and I did the podium in the first Super G races. The day after, there was another Super G, and in that race of the day after, I was kind of not mentally prepared because I had felt such a big emotion
Mm.
the day before, and something that was so hard to process
Mm.
for all the journey that took me till that point, that I was kind of empty the day after, and I just wanted to get to the end of the
The
of
weekend.
the race and then start to think again. And but yeah, in the next days, I realized it more, and I discovered that I had so much potential in me, and this is exactly what I experienced in the next races, because unfortunately last year there wasn't so many races after that race, because there was such a weird calendar that year, and so we did just the two races in Norway, and was kind of
It.
uh, good races for me, because
Mm.
I ended up 40 from downhill and 6 in the Super G, and then also in the World Cup finals I did a good race, and yeah, all in all, it was kind of the biggest thing is that at the end of the season I ended up fifth in the Super G World Cup ranking, and that gave me the feeling of really believing in my potential. It was a proof of what I did. So I was already believing in it, but until you don't see it yourself,
Mm.
it's hard I don't know, to really believing totally.
Mm. And then starts like a second career in a way once you got to that point where you know you can do it, then starts a different career where now you would be, I guess, more hungry for those kinds of feeling and going into races with a different mindset.
Yeah, it was like that. It was like I didn't have to prove anything more. I think that what I need to prove to myself was done. I did everything that I need to do. Uh, just to it was in my mind. It was enough to to um, to give credit to all the journey that I had till
Yeah,
that time.
like
And
like
so it was kind of a relief for me. I was more free to give everything on the slope and not staying there to think too much, because as I mentioned before, thinking it's not really good for being fast. to to really know before what to do. And this was kind of the feeling I had before entering into the season. But then I
yeah.
did another crash at the beginning of this, and that was another really bad bump in my roller coaster career.
Yeah, because you crashed this season. Where did you crash in the US?
Yeah, I crashed in Beaver Creek in Colorado, and was more tough mentally this time because it happened just the day before of the first race of the season. And yeah, I mean, injury in our sport, it's really part of the game. I think that almost every skier of the World Cup has come through an injury, at least something, at least a broken bone or something like a broken knee or something like that. Because unfortunately, it's something really, really common in our sport. Because also, especially in speed, when you go around 150 kilometers per hour down a slope, when you crash, when something little can happen, maybe I don't know, a little stone or um, whatever you can face during your downhill can lead you to a fall and a crash. And at that speed, when you crash, probably something will happen. Usually,
Yeah.
what's different in every situation is that when you never faced any injury before the first injury, you feel like you are invincible, that you know how to crash, you know how to do it when you fall at that speed, and you think that you can do whatever you want. But after the first injury, you understand that probably it's kind of more matter of luck or unluck. It's something that can happen, and unfortunately, as a skier, you have to be prepared to that. And yeah, I think with my journey, I got kind of ready to face every injury. But this last one, it wasn't such a severe setback for me, because I just broke my fibula. It wasn't really something really big as what I experienced before. But mentally it was really tough, because it was just before of the first race of the season, and was kind of a really important season for me, especially after the good season of last year. So yeah, it was hard to process.
And so yeah, now the season is over for you, like, or will
Yeah,
you? Yeah, it's over.
yeah, the season is over because the regular season of the
Ends
World Cup
in
ended up yesterday,
okay.
and now there are the World Cup finals in Sun Valley in US, and but only the first 25 racer of the season can participate to that race.
Mm.
And as I didn't take place in,
Obviously, you're not. Yeah.
no race this year, I couldn't participate.
Yeah.
So, and also I'm still not ready enough
Okay.
to race, because I'm still recovering, and I'm still not 100% recovered. And I aim to be ready to go back on snow in, I hope, 3 weeks.
Okay. So maybe to test the material in
Yeah.
April. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the goal. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you going back next season with maybe the ambition that you had this season, but yeah, you had to
1 year
take 1
later.
year, yeah, sabbatical, one sabbatical for Guglielmo. I mean sabbatical,
Yeah, exactly.
and next year you're going back strong.
Yeah.
And I just maybe it's I don't know how much time we've discussed, but if you still have some more time, I just wanted to discuss something that we discussed the other day when we had the first call, is that your engineering um, degree and your studies in engineering, they changed a bit how you saw and how you approached skiing. Can you maybe explain a bit what it like gave you in terms of perspective um, about skiing?
Yeah. Um, yeah, as I mentioned, really at the beginning, uh, uh, when I was 18 years old, I enrolled to university because I always tried to take ahead both in my life, studying and sport, in some ways. Obviously, after 18 years old, I focused more on the sport career, and the university career was kind of aside. But I managed to take it ahead, and came to me really useful in 2017, 2000, no, 2018, because at that time I faced probably my biggest injury of my career, and it was a really big injury, and nothing compared to the one I'm facing now. And at that time, the problem, it wasn't about going back skiing, let alone going back racing. The main issue at that time is whether I was actually going back to walking. So it was kind of a really long time away from from snow, and in that time I managed to study, and had more time to end up my university bachelor. And I think that helped me out a lot during my skiing career, because when we have to work on stuff like materials and everything, we have to take under control a lot of datas, like the type of construction of a ski, the insole of the skis, the angles, the number of days that a ski goes out into the snow. And as I still was kind of alone in that process, because after that injury I needed to restart again from zero, because I was just arrived into the World Cup with the racing in Kitzbühel, and I did probably one season with the World Cup team, scoring my first FIS points, World Cup points, and then this injury happened, and I needed to restart again from the beginning, from FIS races, and I needed to do it a bit on my own, to know everything more about skis, and to have all the data together with me. So I did basically this Excel file with all the data from the skis, and it was collected during trainings and testing and a lot of stuff. And I managed to use it in an engineering way, because in that way I managed to choose always the right skis for the situation, and that helped me out a lot during my career, to get back to the level I was before, and even better.
And how, maybe that's kind of like a naive question, but I never ever skied on anything but the cheapest rental skis you can get. What is the difference between the cheapest rental skis you have and the ones that you guys have?
Yeah, there there are a lot of differences depending also on the discipline you are doing. Basically, the length change in regarding to the discipline. For instance, in slalom, a ski is 165 centimeters height. In giant slalom is between 193 centimeters to 2 meters high. And then for speed discipline, there are 215 centimeters and 220 centimeters. So basically, with the skis this long, it's also difficult to go out skiing and to enjoy skiing on a normal day on snow. So you can't find that kind of skis in a rental shop. It's something.
Do you think it would be feasible to go on Kitzbühel with rental skis? What would have happened?
Oh, sorry, I didn't get
Like
you.
if you go on the like a hard downhill slope with the rental skis, what happened? Is it possible or?
Not suggest this to you. I think it's better you can go there outside of the many days after the race while the slope it's prepared to be skied in some section, just in some section by tourists, because the whole slope it's not open from top to bottom during normal days,
Yeah,
because
that's understandable.
it's not even a slope
Uh-uh.
outside of the race week. There's just some section that you can do
Mhm.
it, and but if you probably, even me, I probably didn't do like the kids bully inspection with rented skis
Yeah.
to give you a, a meaning of what does it mean to get down there with rented skis.
Yeah, that gives a good example of the difficulty of the race and the material that you need to have to race it. And going into that roller coaster of a career that you have, because you're still in the career. What was your biggest victory, you think? Because it seems like there were a lot of turning points. There was like, I guess that there's the big goal of making it to the World Cup after being kicked out. And then there's overcoming that huge injury where you didn't know if you were going to walk ever again. And then there's getting the first podium uh, in like the first podium in your career. Like, what was the moment you're the most proud uh, throughout the career that you've had? Or
Uh, Probably the biggest accomplishment is not probably from the result, but was what how I felt it after the last season. Because after the last season, I kind of felt relief, like I didn't have nothing to prove to myself, and I can start to enjoy just skiing and doing it for what I like to do,
Mhm.
to enjoy the fact of being out there pushing my limit and skiing as fast as I can. Probably that part is what I enjoy the most. And that happened after, yeah, for sure. The good season helped a lot, because ending in the top fifth skiers
Mm.
of the Super G ranking, but for sure, because it was something that was proved also to me that I I am one of them. I felt that I am I have this potential, but I proved also to myself. This probably is the biggest accomplishment, I would say.
You feel like as an athlete
As an
throughout, yeah, throughout your career, like you have the burden of proving that it was worth it to like build your life around that goal. Is it something that you feel and that you felt liberated from once you got that podium?
Yeah, because I think that carry a more meaningful thing inside, because it's not just about the result in the end, and this is what probably I notice more now with this last setback that I have now, because in the end, what probably stays in mind is not the number of winning or podium that a skier or an athlete has gained during his career, but it's probably more the values and the journey that he did to get to that point. And I think that in some ways my journey can maybe, I hope that can inspire someone to try to believe in this process and try to do it, even if it's not easy, even if there's not many chances to make it to that point. But maybe if you really believe it and you keep trying, maybe you can get there. So I think this one is the biggest accomplishment.
I love it. That's good. I hope it gives people the.
I hope it's like that.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Oh, maybe people will feel okay. That's nice, but he nearly lost his leg. I mean his legs at different points of his career. So maybe it's good that I just stay chill on the couch and enjoy a different life.
There is one question I really want to ask you. It's like if you were to have kids, would you want them to be downhill skiers, or would you like try to kind of prevent them from doing that?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think I will prevent them to do downhill skiing. I think downhill skiing, it's not something really. I mean, you can do it, but it's not good to be the parent of the kid.
Yeah.
Because I think it's really a difficult journey to get to that point. It's not just the injury, the only issue that you can face, but there are a lot of difficultness and hard moment that you will face. Also, because skiing, it's not like you cannot start from the beginning and say, okay, I would like to become a professional skier and I will do everything I can, and you manage to arrive to Race World Cup. There's a lot of turning point that can happen during this journey that it's tough to handle mentally and also physically due to also to the injuries. So I don't know. I don't regret my journey or also my injuries, because I think that every injury has taught me something in some ways. For sure, yeah. I wonder sometimes what would be my career without them, but of course. But I think that without my injuries, it would have been another story. And as I told you before, I think that my story is unique because it's mine. It's my journey. And I think that every injury has shaped me into the person and into the athlete I am today. So, yeah, it's something that I have in my background when I grow up. So maybe if this child has the same feeling inside of him, maybe it could be an option, but probably.
I mean, you can do, your child can do like your parents, you know. I mean, he can do like you did with your parents. Your parents didn't approve of you skiing, but you went regardless, and it paid well for you. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's like, I mean, with this conversation, I didn't know that much about professional skiing at the beginning, But now I really feel like there are like common themes in sport. Like injury is a common theme in almost every sports. But I feel like, and mental, also the mental side of sport is also like a common theme in every sports. But I feel that in skiing, everything is times like 100. Like it is 100 times more scarier than other sports. Like mental side matters way more than in other sports. The injuries are like they happen really often, and they can be really severe to the point of death. And then it's also not the most famous sport in the world in that only so few skiers are able to make a career out of it. So now, from now on, I think every time I will meet like a skier, I will have like a mad respect for him because crazy sport from what I understood from your story. So
Oh,
Maybe.
it's also a good life. Don't get me
yeah.
wrong. Yeah, it's there are some aspects that are not so easy. I enjoy it a lot to do it. This is why I'm doing it. It's not just because I want to prove to anyone else that I'm the strongest one, but yeah, in some ways it has some difficultness, and but it's also a good life. I mean, you can travel the world doing something that other people do it for I don't know, for a vacation. They go by the mountains to go skiing. We travel the world. We can have such different experience, and also you have some kind of spotlight. Obviously, it's not like soccer players or other stuff, but I mean, you get a lot of things that you don't even notice anymore when you're inside of this bubble. So yeah, it can be it can seem really hard from outside, and it is, but you have also some satisfaction for sure. If not, you're not going to do it.
I think, William, it might be time for the question of the last guest to the next guest. And
All right.
to
This
be
this is
honest,
no, it's not a tricky one, but it's without contest, it might feel weird, but
but maybe like, so what we do, Guglielmo, is that we ask the previous guest for a question to the next guest, not knowing who it will be. And so the previous guest left a question for you because you're the next one. And so yeah, William is gonna
so the question
ask
was,
that.
why do you believe there is a God? And if not, so if you don't believe there is a God, why not?
We told him that the next guest would be would have quite a hard time.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, actually, I came from a Catholic family, and I used to go to church almost every Sunday when I was a kid. But yeah, uh, I still believe in God. I mean, but growing up, for sure, I developed kind of my own relationship with God. I would say that it's when you are really into the rush of your life, you have a lot of things to think about it. Maybe you start maybe losing a bit that spiritual side of life, I think. But yeah, I'm not anymore a practicing Christian Catholic at the moment, and probably if I start again, maybe I have to confess some sins for sure. But yeah, outside from that, I think there is for sure something bigger moving us that it's ruling in some ways what we are doing, because yeah, we try always to have everything under control, but probably some things didn't go exactly how we did imagine it before. So in this way, for sure, there's, there should be a God. No.
And did you find maybe a more spiritual life once when you had very difficult times, especially the 2-year injury? Like, did it connected you to more spiritual, not linked to any religion maybe, but did it make you think about life in a different way?
Um, yeah, for sure. You start to think about yourself in a different way after an injury. Especially, you start to question a lot about yourself, about which stage of your life you are in at the moment. And I think this was also my case after this last injury. Uh, but yeah, not exactly recollecting with
Yeah.
religion, but to know better who you are and in which position you are, and for sure in that way, maybe having more spiritual side can help a bit. Yeah.
And
Mm.
maybe, and also all the data on ski. That way you
Yeah,
took it the
and
other
that's why
way.
I have more an analytical approach.
Yeah.
So I try to rule everything with my with some
Rational.
something more rational,
Yeah.
not something more spiritual. Yeah.
I think you gave a great answer to a difficult question, so that's good. I think you will be happy with so it was Jamie Riddle. He's a South African triathlete. He will be happy with the answer.
Okay. Hope so.
And maybe like, do you
Hope
have
he's not too much religious because yeah, it does seem a lot religious.
no, but that was not the plan. I think about the question. He was really open with the having your own relationship with this. So no
I
worries.
think yeah, exactly. I think everyone has its own way to
Mm.
deal with God, and
Mm.
for sure, yeah, there is a spiritual side in every one of us a little bit. It doesn't mean if its name is God or something else. I think no.
Yeah, I agree. And do you like you're not if you want you can like if you don't have a question right now in your mind, we can ask you later and ask the question to the next guy. But if you have one, then that's the time to to ask what question would you ask an athlete basically? What's something that's really interesting for you?
Maybe I can think. Maybe what was the time in a career or in the career of the next
Yeah, in his
guest here,
career or her career.
in which he thought that all the efforts that he put was worth it. Maybe, yeah.
Perfect question. Amazing one. Maybe
This
it's
is an
good.
easier one. I'm happy you came up with that one.
No, but it's a hard one as well. I mean, it's easier in comparing to the other one, but it's
Mm.
like I think it's a really deep one because it's hard to know that it's not something we ask ourselves a lot. Like, when was the moment we felt basically our life have had more meaning, or all the efforts we did finally came
For
to
me, it
some.
was the moment I was able to speak with Guglielmo Bosca. So that was perfect.
being being
a,
a
a, a crazy skier
Yeah.
who practice this crazy sport.
No, but like I was thinking about one thing is if one day I have kids, like if I go skiing with them, I will not buy crepe of Nutella because they might end up, like doing crazy downhill skiing, and I'm not sure I want that. So I will be mindful about that.
That's a perfect way to maybe end this great
No problem.
conversation. Thank you very much, Guglielmo. Where can people find you if they want to follow you?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram. Yeah, my name is Gu Bosca on Instagram. You can find me there, and you can follow some crazy journey on skiing.
Yeah. And you'll find some great, because we didn't have time to discuss about this, but you'll find on this account some great photos, great videos, because you really have like a passion for that, and I think you're really good at it. So I think you could be making great documentaries about skiing and like the difficulty and how it's like before going to Kitzbühel in your first ever race. And I think that's something that could be great with your great eye for.
Yeah, I actually it's something that I have in mind when I do something on social media. I would like to express what is the meaning of doing it. What is to give credit, because at least people can understand properly what we are doing this
Yeah.
down, why we do it, and well, if it's worth it or not. It's better to others. to
And
judge.
I want some shots of how steep it is. Like next year, please make a shot where to see like the craziness of it. Perfect. Then thank you.
Thank you so
Guglielmo.
much.
All right. This is the end of the 7th episode of the Emulation Podcast. It means a lot that you've reached the end. We really appreciate you taking the time. And yeah, as always, you can leave us a 5-star review on Spotify if you've liked the episode. You can follow us on Instagram or YouTube. And you can also go and follow Guglielmo on Instagram. He has a really nice profile with great videos and photos and behind the scenes of the ski season. So we'll leave you to another episode, hopefully, and we'll see you next week. Bye.